Ishnu Allah, everybody. Sorry, this armor really makes me feel like a druid from World of Warcraft. But yes, today we're going to review the Strangler Heart power armor. And if it's worth getting, because this power armor cost, I think it's around 2,000 scrip, 6,500 gold. And so yeah, that is a lot of grinding for what is effectively ultra sight power armor. And you can get ultra sight power armor normally. However, the Strangler Heart power armor is kind of unique. It's one of only two sets of power armor that has what is called a set bonus. You see, the Strangler Heart power armor and the Excavator power armor are the only two power armors that have set bonuses. The Excavator gets more carry weight, and also whenever you're mining, it gets additional minerals. The Strangler Heart power armor has two set bonuses as well. It puts a AoE damage field around you. Whenever enemies get close, they start taking damage. And then the second effect is whenever you hit something, whether it be with a melee weapon or a ranged weapon, it also applies a damage over time effect, a dot. But is that worth the grinding? And is T65 more worth it? Well, I don't know. Because power armor is weird in this game. While power armor stats vary, like if you compare T45 to T51 to T60 to Ultra Sight to XO1 to T65, the stats are very different. However, there is a thing in this game called diminishing returns. And diminishing returns means that stats are only good to a certain point, and when you start to go over that point, they become the effect of going over that is lessened. So it'd be like if you have a something that does 300 damage and something that does 400 damage, that 400 seems better. However, when you hit something, let's say they both do 250, right? So the 400 isn't much better than the 300. That's kind of how it works here. So yes, but there is some interesting things you can do with the set bonus, and I'm going to show you. Let me fast travel real quick. You're just going to see a big blip on the screen probably, or a fade in. Alright, so here we are with these low-level Scorched, or, I'm gonna call them Forest Scorched, because with One Wasteland, there are no more low levels if you're not low level. So the thing I wanted to show is this. Whenever you hit a low-level enemy, or a forest enemy, see, they just die. So you effectively can one-shot, basically, nearly everything, even with this little 10mm pistol. They just kind of, despite the initial shot being very, well, get the added explosion effect. So, if you view having this ability to kill basically low, I don't know what to call them, they're not low level, I guess low region enemies very quickly, basically, if you spend a lot of time in the bottom areas, right, in the low-level areas, which are the forest, toxic valley, and the ash heap, you're going to encounter level 50s, right? Which are all generally... See, the acid effect is strong enough where it will just kill them, in this one wasteland world. Even with this relatively weak pistol, because the dot effect is in itself strong. So you can effectively one-shot any of these, enemies in here. And I would say that if you are spending a lot of time in the forest, in, these lower... I'm just gonna call them low-level regions, because that's easier. See, they just kind of die. Which is a pretty good effect, if, But is it worth the, the grinding to get this? Because... shortly here, I'm going to go show you what happens whenever you go fight high-level Scorched. The same Scorched with this. First, I'll go show you some other ones, so you know it's not this Scorched, because Scorched are generally weak. So we'll go shoot some lower-level super mutants with this and see what happens then. Okay, so now we have the super mutants. So something a bit tougher than Scorched, but we're still in the forest, so it's lower. Do we have that same one-shot effect? Game, I didn't... No. Well, the damage is definitely increased on him. You know, over just standard shooting him. Oh, you are not affected by this. Interesting. Weird. They're not... The floaters are not affected by this. Or not as much. They're affected a bit. I don't know. Some of them seem to die to it, some of them don't die to it. But yes, we shall go see what happens when you shoot high-level enemies with it. Okay, so now we're in the Watoga Civic Center, so there should be higher-level Scorched in here. Should be. If not, then you won't see this part of the video. If you do, that means there are regular, or actual Scorched in here. Yes, there are. Alright, so let's see what happens when we shoot a higher level one with it. You see, not much. His health went down a tiny bit. Well, if I keep it... Yeah, see, it's not that worth it, and this is only a 64 one. If we can find a level... There's a level 100. Health, yeah, tiny bit, tiny fraction. If you look at his name, you can kind of judge. See, it's on the E right now. Yeah, it's a tiny bit of added damage. Hopefully you shoot him a bunch. Nothing still. I'm using a weak pistol just to see how good the acid damage is. And it's not... Like I mentioned, it's not amazing, right? You're, at least against these higher levels. As you saw versus the low levels, this acid damage was really good. You could effectively, you know, one-shot everything. Well, I think Death Claws... I think I tried this on a Death Claw before, and it does a good amount of damage to Death Claws. However, it won't have that one-shot ability like it has on Super Mutants and Scorched. However, we're going to try a more powerful gun with it. And is it worth, you know... This is a pistol build. It's a power armor pistol build. Yes, I know that's weird, but I made it work. I don't know. It's... I don't know if the acid damage is actually worth, you know, the 2,000 script and 6,500 gold. Which would be... How many treasury notes is that? Let's see. 20 equals 200. So, what? Add a 0 on the end of that? 65,000 treasury notes? My math is wrong. I'm terrible at math, but, you know. Plus, there is something odd with the Strangler Heart power armor. And that skins don't work on it. They do work on it, and they don't work on the Strangler Heart power armor. What I mean by that is, you can apply the skin, except all the vines will still be there. Like, it doesn't erase the vine, so you can't have Strangler Heart that looks like regular Ultrasight. You're kind of stuck with the you're stuck with the Druid look. Same with the Solar and the Thorn armor. You can't remove the vines. I have to say, they really made this look like a Druid, especially with the crest there. Like how... This looks like an armor from World of Warcraft, you know, the Cenarian Circle, if you're familiar with World of Warcraft at all. Like the Druids. Oh well. We'll go shoot some very high health things. Alright, so now we're here with the robot. There should be a sentry bot down here. Yes, he has pretty good health as long as you don't shoot the fusion core. So let's see. I'm not noticing much acid damage on him. A bit, but... If I shoot him a whole bunch. We're just testing the acid damage. Or you can just do that. But yeah. I don't know. You be the judge of if you think the added acid damage after the initial nerf, because you know it was breaking the game, it was actually crashing the game, and One Wasteland changing how damage works as well. If you think the ability, if you think that the set bonus, the 2 set bonuses of this is worth the grinding. I mean, you kind of get to hide in the mire a bit, you know, get to look like the mire region. If you like walking around looking like a druid, a power armor druid, that's an interesting concept. Oh, there's another sentry bot. I didn't kill him. I don't know. You be the judge. Like, I think because I generally spend a lot of time in this part of the map, the western region of the map, and everything kind of dies in one hit, I think it's worth it. I mean, you get to one-shot things with any weapon. You pull out your 10mm pistol, shoot them once, and they just die. I mean, I think that's pretty worth it. You could, if you're ever farming over there, or take one of the workshops, you know, and you want to defend it, you know, that can be pretty good. However, if you're a high-level player and you're constantly dealing with high-level stuff, not exactly that worth it. I mean, I guess if you're a heavy gunner, it might be worth it, but if you're just after stats, like if you just care about defense and stats, maybe the T65 is more worth it, even though I wouldn't go after the T65 either. I think that's too much grinding for what you get. The T65 isn't strong enough for me to recommend that either. For me to recommend it, really. Because what you can do, and get this, alright? If you ever did the Raider questline for Wastelanders, alright? There is a helmet you get, or a paint for the T51B helmet. Alright? This paint is the only paint in the game that actually gives stats, right? It boosts the damage resistance and the energy resistance of T51B, which, if you know, level 50 T51B is already the strongest base power armor. So boosting it up, you can get really good defense out of like just a T51B with the steel mill. It's called the steel mill paint, right? You apply that to the head, and get this too. Whenever you apply the steel mill paint, it raises the energy resistance of T51B to only 1 point less than T65. So I'm saying, you know, you can get really good stats with base power armor. Now, why they only add in the helmet, I don't know. Oh, and you didn't hear it from me, but you can glitch if you didn't do the Raider questline. You can actually glitch into there and get the that paint, even if you did the Settler questline. Just saying. Not gonna tell you how. I'm just going to tell you it's possible. So yeah, that's gonna be all. See you later. Tell me what you think of this armor. Do you think it's worth the grind? The 2,000 script, you know, for the Vault Steel and the Legendary modules, and the 6,000, I think it's 6,500 gold to get every single piece. Because the armor, the chest armor and the helmet are 1,250 each. So that'd be 2,500. Then 4 limbs. Yeah, so 6,500. Tell me if you think that's worth it. For a little bit of acid damage that can effectively one-shot anything in the western region, but really does nothing, or nothing much. It probably does a good, you know, it ups your DPS against high levels, but it's not a game changer in my opinion. Alright, see you later. Bye.